So June LSAT, digital writing sample, everything else is paper and pencil. Then starting in July, half of test takers receive the digital LSAT, half receive the pencil. They are assigned to you. You don't get to choose, and you get no advance notice. Now, I know a number of you were taking in July, so be ready for that. Be ready for paper or digital, and you won't know in advance. One thing I should mention about the digital LSAT in July specifically is that LSAC as a one-time kind of olive branch, they will let you see your LSAT score before you decide whether to cancel. This is something that a lot of people are excited about. I think July registrations will be higher than usual because of that, but it's not really that big a deal because you should almost never cancel your LSAT score no matter what. Law schools do not average LSAT scores. They only take the highest. So if you, let's say you get a 160 one day, a 175 the next day, the next administration, they will take it as if you got a 175. And so if you take the July LSAT and you don't love your score, sure, you could cancel, but then admission officers will see a cancellation rather than whatever your score actually was. And a cancellation is kind of like a big question mark. So it's kind of ambiguous, and they might think for all they know, you got a 140 or a 130 versus maybe you actually got a 155 and you were just unhappy because you were your practice tests were around a 160, let's say. So I wouldn't really ever cancel, even if you can see your score first, unless something went horribly wrong or your score is more embarrassing than the question mark of a cancellation would be. Now, I saw some of you were taking it in June. If you're taking it in June, I would actually recommend taking it in July as well, no matter what. And here's why. There's only about a 5-week gap in between the June and July LSATs, meaning that you've only got to stay fresh on the LSAT for another 5 weeks. So maybe you take one additional timed practice test per week over the course of 5 weeks. You take it then again in July. Let's say you got a 160 in June, and that was your true aptitude, that was your deserved score. 160 is great, but there is a margin of error or a score band of 3.5 points on either end with your LSAT score, meaning that one day you could get, let's say, a 160. The next day you could get a 164. And obviously a 164 will open far more doors than a 160 would. So for that reason, it's well worth retaking if you think you could do better next time around. And even if you don't know whether you could or not, no big deal. It's still worth trying for it just to see, because 4 points higher makes a big difference. And let's say you don't get 4 points higher. Let's say you get a 160 again, or you get a 157. Again, not a big deal because law schools only consider your highest LSAT score. Now, I've got a playlist for those of you who might have taken the March LSAT specifically about retaking, because retaking has become more common than ever before. So I've put this link in the chat for you here. It's to my YouTube playlist. So let's say you took it in March, you're thinking of June or July, some advice on retaking there. Or if you're going to go for June, you could then go for July again. For those of you taking it in the fall, I would say if you're taking it in September, also consider October and November as well. Because just through nothing more than luck alone, you could do a few points better, and a few points better, or even just 1 point better, could lead you to get thousands of dollars more in scholarship money or get into a better law school. And so it's really a no-brainer to retake if there's any chance you could do better. Now, I've talked about the digital LSAT. I've put another YouTube playlist in the chat here. So I put a couple playlists here. There are playlists on YouTube for my YouTube channel where I have several videos on different aspects of prep. I put one playlist there for retakes, and I put another playlist there specifically about the digital LSAT. Now, the digital LSAT is going to be administered, I said, on a tablet. Specifically, it will be a Microsoft Surface Go tablet. Now, Microsoft Surface Go is expensive. It's maybe $400 or $500. It's a lot, but if it increases your level of comfort with the LSAT that you'll be taking, then I think it's well worth it. A single point more could lead to tens of thousands of dollars more in scholarship money. So it is well worth it. But if you can't do that, a Samsung Galaxy tablet is closer to around $200 or $250, a bit more affordable. Make sure you get the stylus as well. If you already have an iPad, you could use that. If you have a smartphone with a large screen, you might want to consider using that as well. I don't think it matters too much which tablet you use, but I do think it is important to use a tablet to get used to this touch screen flow of the LSAT.